Hey, what's up, GRE lovers? Today we are going to solve some more quant problems, and probably I'm going to demonstrate this visualizing technique in which you basically convert text to a picture so that you can kind of like see what is going on. And the main philosophy behind this visualizing technique is basically kind of like how you can transfer these dense passages and kind of like create an easy to use diagram to work your way out. So, okay, here it goes. A town A town, and B Willie are connected by straight 420-mile road. Okay, so I need to sketch this out. So there is a town and a B Willie somewhere here. And let me use a line. Okay, so there is a straight road. And what's the dimension? Okay, yeah, so 420 miles. Okay, so they're 420 miles apart. Atu left A town for B Willie. So let's use small case A so that we don't kind of like confuse it with the capital A over here. Atu left A town for B Willie, so he's going in this direction. And Burke left B Willie for A town, so B is going in this direction. If Atu travels at 56 miles per hour, so he's going at a 56 miles per hour. And Burke travels at 49 miles per hour. Okay, a little bit slower, but it's okay. 49 miles per hour. How many miles apart will Atu and Burke be 1 hour before they meet? Okay, so first of all, I think what I need to do here is kind of like find their meet time, a time in which they will kind of like catch one another. So if I'm using my intuition, the meet time is going to be a little bit to the right from the center. Let's say if this is the center, it's going to be somewhere here. Now the question is why I'm able to kind of like draw this meet time a little bit right to the center. Why? Because of A, this Atu guy has 56 miles per hour and it's a lot faster than Burke. So obviously he is gonna travel more distance than Burke. So, but the question is not really interested in this time, which is basically the meetup time. The question is basically saying that how many miles apart Atu and Burke be 1 hour before they meet. So I kind of like need to subtract this 1 hour from this meetup time and kind of like use this time to kind of like find where A is lying and where B is lying and kind of like use their distances. Okay, let's try to draw it out. So let's say A was somewhere over here and from here all the way to here, and B is somewhere here 1 hour before their meetup time, here all the way to here. So let's call this, I don't know, a single question mark, and let's call this distance a double question mark. And let me use a different color so that we know what are we looking for. And the question is basically asking us, okay, what is the distance? How far apart A and B are before this 1 hour meetup time? How far apart are they? And just let's call it X. So what I really need to do here is calculate this distance, and then kind of like sum it up and subtract it from 420 to get this X value, which is basically how far A and B are apart from one another 1 hour before the meetup time. So let's try to use the relative rate formula. So a simple formula for basically, a distance, time, and rate is basically there is rate, then there is distance, and there is time. However, when two objects are kind of like going against one another, you can use their relative rate, which is basically their combined rate, the sum of their rates, the distance between them, to get the meet up time. So if I'm using this simple analysis over here, the sum of their rate is going to be what? 9 plus 6 is going to be 15. I have a 1 carry, 4 and a 5 plus a 1. So 4 and a 5 is a 9, plus 1 is a 10. Okay, so this is the combined rate right over here. Then what is the distance? The distance is 420. Okay, so what is going to be the meetup time? The meetup time is going to be 105, I believe, 4 times or yeah, 4 hours. 420. Okay, so my meetup time is 4 hours. However, this is not what I'm interested in. The question is basically asking me to subtract 1 from the meetup time, so which is basically gonna give me 3 hours. 3 hours. So now that I have a time, all I need to do is kind of like find this question mark, this distance. So I have a rate for A, I have the time, I can find this question mark, this distance. Okay, so if I come down here, again, we're calculating for, what is the name? Atu? Yeah. So, okay, same, formation. So what is the rate? The rate is 56. What is the time? The time is 3. Okay, 6 threes are 18. 1 goes a carry. 5 threes are 15. Plus 1, 168. Okay, so this question mark over here is basically 168 miles. Okay, now calculating for B. Okay, who is basically, what was his name again? Yeah, Burke. So Burke, with the same formation, what is his speed? It is 49 miles per hour. What is the time? Basically, it is 3 hours. Okay, so 3 nines are 27. 2 goes with the carry. 4 threes are 12. 13, 14. It's going to be 147. All I need to do is now, since this distance is 147, I can combine these two distances, subtract it from the 420, and get this value x. So okay, so this is 168 and 147. Okay, so 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract a 1, you get a 15. So 6 plus 4 is 10. You get a 1, you get 11. And these three combine to give 315. So all I'm looking at here is subtracted from the 420 from 315. So if I subtract the 300, I'm going to get 120. But then if I subtract 15, furthermore, I'm going to get 105. So this is basically the distance, which is basically x, 105. And the answer must be B. Okay, guys, let's keep rolling. Okay, the score of Alice and Bob are integers. So there are two-person, Alice and Bob. And let's say A represents the score of Alice, B represents the score of Bob, and both scores are integers. Okay, cool. And the average of both score is 60. Okay, so if you kind of like sum them up and divide it by 2, their average is 60. One thing that I can kind of like derive from that, just as a side note, so the sum of score A and score B is going to be 120, simply multiplying to the other side, okay? Such that the scores are between 100 and 0. Okay, so the scores are integers, and the score can be less than 100, and it has to be greater than 0. Okay. So the quantity is asking for the maximum possible difference between their scores. Okay, so before we actually dive into this, I think we really need to kind of like sketch things out. So this average is kind of like lying right in the center, and let's say A is to the left and B is to the right. And kind of like using simple symmetry, let's say B score is 30 points away from 60. So if I add 30 to 60, I'm going to get a 90. And if I simply using the same symmetry, if I subtract 30 from 60, I'm going to get 30. So A score is 30, B score is 90. If I take the average, I am going to get a 60, excuse me. And the difference between them, the delta, is also going to be 60. But the question is asking for the maximum possible difference. Now the question is, can I like stretch this line out a bit longer? And if yes, how can I do that? So I'm interested in the maximum difference, okay, the maximum difference between the two averages. So what I can do here is, since the score needs to be less than 100, yet it needs to be an integer, the maximum that I can stretch is, okay, I'm gonna take it all the way to 99, and the difference is basically 39 in this case, from the average all the way to 99. So using again the simple symmetry, I can say, okay, using the same symmetry, when I subtract 30 from 60, I get a 30. Now I need to subtract 9 more, so I'm going to get 21. So this time, A score is 21, B score is 98. Now the question is, what? This is like the maximum possible I can stretch the difference, right? So let's say I subtract that. Subtracting that, I'm going to get 9 minus 1 is 8, 9 minus 2 is 7. So the maximum possible difference is 78, which is quite less than 80. Therefore, answer must be B. Okay, moving on. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling. Okay, an age problem. Jean is 7 years older than Robert. Okay, so we have Jean, and she is 7 years older than Robert. Okay, let's call it G, the Gene's age, R for R, Robert's age, and this is probably happening now, right? Then it says 6 years ago. Oh, okay, so now we're talking about 6 years in the past. Okay, 6 years. Gene was twice as old as Robert. So, okay, so this equation is a little bit fancy. So uh, I think I should be using a different variable. Let's call it GO or G old. Gene's old age was twice as old as Robert's old age. So the way I kind of like tackling these type of age problems is like I kind of like I like sketching almost like a calendar or a small table so that I kind of like see what's going on. So let's say now we are at 2020. Okay. So with the gap of 6, right? 6 years difference, this is going to be 21, 4, right? 14 plus 6 is 20. So let's say now, since this is the now case, Jean is 7 years older than Robert. However, 6 years before, Jean's old age was twice as Robert's age. And I can come up with a further constraint, which is basically, okay, so Jean's now age is basically Jean's old age plus 6. And similarly, Robert's now age is Robert's old age plus a 6 because of the 6 year gap. So now I can use these constraints to kind of like figure things out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine, let me use a different color here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these two constraints and work my way out. So okay, so instead of G, I'm going to write G old plus 6. So, okay, G old plus a 6 is equal to R, which is R old plus a 6, and with this plus 7. Okay, so I can cancel this 6 from the both sides, and now I think I need to use this constraint over here and plug it over here. So I'm going to be like, okay, 2 times Robert's old age is equal to Robert's age plus 7. So Robert's old age is going to cancel from both sides, so I'm going to be left with RO with positive 7. So question is basically asking me Robert's current age. So if old age is 7, all I need to do is, if this is 7 plus a 6, and I'm gonna get 7 1 is 7, 2 is 14, subtract 1 at 13, and 13 is bigger than 12, therefore answer must be A. Okay, guys, this is it for now. I hope this visualizing technique was helpful. The main concern again is just to kind of like convert these dense word problems into these pictures so that you can kind of like work your way out of these. Okay, guys, this is ABD signing out, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.